today we're going to talk about que and cual. Now, the word que most often means what, and the word cual most often means which. However, I wanted to make this video because there are times where in English we say what, and in Spanish we would use cual, and in English we would say which, but in Spanish we use que. So it doesn't always work out that way, and that can be confusing for students. So I'm going to give you some quick tips on que and cual. So, as I said, que most often generally means what, and cual means which. Now, how can you decide which one to use? Which one to use? So when you are defining or identifying something, you're going to use que. So for example, ¿qué es la química? So here I'm asking for a definition. What is chemistry? So I'm asking you to define it for me. I'm asking what is chemistry? So I'm asking for the definition. If I said, ¿qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? Es un teléfono. Identification. So we're going to use que whenever we're asking for a definition of something, and we're going to use que when we're asking for identification of something. So here, ¿qué es la química? What is chemistry? And ¿qué es esto? What is this? So I'm asking you to identify what this is. Es un teléfono. All right. Que is always invariable. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that it doesn't have a plural form. So it doesn't matter if I'm talking about more than one thing, que is not going to have a plural form, so it won't change. And we'll see a contrast to that because cual does have a plural form. So que is always invariable, there's not a plural form. Another thing worth mentioning is that grammatically, you should always use que when you are immediately following with a noun, regardless if you're saying what or which. In Spanish, grammatically, you're supposed to use que with a noun. So for example, ¿qué modelo quieres? Which model do you want? If I was browsing for TVs and the salesperson came up to me, they might say, ¿qué modelo quieres? What model or which model do you want? And modelo is a sustantivo, a noun, so we're going to use que. Now, with that being said, even though it's considered grammatically correct, many native speakers will use cual as well, either one, in front of a noun. So if you look here, ¿cuál libro quieres? Which book do you want? So here, libro is a noun, and you could use cual here as well. So if you look, I have que plus a noun, it's okay. Cual plus a noun is also okay. And again, grammatically, it's preferred to use que before the noun, but many native speakers in different dialects will also use cual. And especially in more informal situations, it's becoming more and more standard. So you will see and hear both. So you can choose either one before a noun. Now, let's take a look at cual. And again, cual often means which. And we're going to use this when we have a selection among several things. So let's see. For example, ¿cuál es la fecha? What is the date? Literally, we're asking which is the date. So of all of the dates that today might be, which one is the date today? If I said, ¿cuál es tu agua? Which is your water? I'm asking you to make a selection, a choice amongst things. So you're going to choose cuál whenever you are selecting among things. Now, as I mentioned earlier, que is always invariable. It does not have a plural form. However, cual does have a plural form. The plural form of cual is cuáles. Now, here's an example of when to use cuáles. ¿Cuáles de los muchachos son ticos? Which of the guys are Costa Rican? Now, here's a cultural note. The word ticos is a way to identify someone from Costa Rica. So instead of saying costarricense, which is the word for Costa Rican, most people from Costa Rica refer to themselves as ticos or ticas. So it's a way to know if someone is Costa Rican. If someone says that they are tico, it means they're Costa Rican. So in this example, which of the guys is a tico, or which of the guys are Costa Rican? So in this example, I'm asking you to choose multiple guys. So I'm going to make cual plural because I'm asking for you to choose multiple things. So in this example with the water, ¿cuál es tu agua? Which is your water? I'm only asking you to choose one water. But in the example of the muchachos, I'm asking you to choose multiple muchachos. So I'm going to make cuáles plural. All right, and also, as I said, you can follow cual with a noun. So here, ¿cuál libro quieres? Which book do you want? So I'm asking you to make a selection among things. But again, I'm using it with a noun, and that is acceptable nowadays, becoming more and more standard. So you can use que or cual before a noun. Even though grammatically, many books say to just use que, we don't always follow the rules whenever we're speaking in Spanish, just like we don't always follow the rules whenever we're speaking in English. So keep that in mind. All right, so one thing I do want to mention about these interrogative or question words, and we call them interrogatives because they're question words. So think about if you went to the police station and they were going to interrogate you, to ask you a lot of questions. Interrogative words are question words. And one thing about question words in Spanish is that they always carry an accent mark. So you'll notice here that there's an accent mark. You always have to put an accent mark on interrogative words in Spanish. Okay, let's take a look at a comparison of que and cual. Here I have ¿qué deseas? What do you desire? I'm asking for a definition, something very broad of what you desire. What is it that you desire? I'm not asking for you to make a choice. I'm asking for you to define. And here, ¿cuál deseas? ¿Cuál deseas? Which do you desire? Which do you want? So if I was holding up these waters, ¿cuál deseas? Which one do you want? I'm giving you a choice amongst something specific by using cuál. Here, ¿qué quieres? What do you want? Again, I'm asking for a definition, something very broad. It's not specific. I'm not asking you to make a choice amongst things. I'm asking you for a definition or broad information. ¿Qué quieres? What do you want? And here, ¿cuál quieres? Which one do you want? ¿Cuál quieres? So I'm asking you to make a choice, a selection among things. So again, que is used for definition or identification, and cuál is used when you're making a selection among things. Another thing that I want to mention is that when que and cuál don't have an accent mark, they're used as linking words or connecting words, and they mean that and which. So the accent mark is very important because it changes the meaning or the usage of the word in the sentence. All right, clase, that was a quick tidbit on que and cuál. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always happy to help you. Gracias!